left me there, Dad! In hell!
I searched for you among the dead. You're not the one I saved anymore.
The sand tastes like metal. It doesn't just whip at your face, it slices, scratches skin, packs between your teeth like flecks of glass. The sun hangs so high it feels like it's melting the ground itself. The air thrums with heat, as if someone is holding a giant blow dryer right over your head. I'm standing by an overturned Humvee, smoking like a pipe from hell. The metal is still hot, touch it, and your fingers hiss like bacon in a skillet. Hayes, do you copy? Sergeant Walsh's voice rips into my headset, sharp and raspy. I copy, I say, short, swallowing dust. The 22nd vehicle is down. The bridge section is blown. We've lost contact with the base, he adds. They're jamming the radio. I watch smoke climb off the shattered convoy. One of my men, Corporal Riggs, lies in the shade of the hull, clutching his belly. Blood seeps through the fabric, dark and thick, no longer red-black from the heat and dust. I press my hand over the wound. Hold on, Riggs. You breathing? Yes, sir. Just, damn, it's hot. His voice shakes. Stay with me, I tell him, not sure I believe it myself. The air is full of fuel, blood, burnt stuff, and hot metal. I'll never forget this smell. Fallujah smelled the same. Then and now the same aftertaste of death. Another voice cuts through the static thin, slightly warped by interference. Bravo 2, come in. This is Delta 1. We're under fire to the south. Hayes, do you copy? It's Tom. I freeze. The blood rushes to my head. Tom? I thumb the button. Tom, is that you? Dad, he's breathing hard. We got ambush, southern corridor, past the ridge. They pinned us down. I gulp the hot air. My heart hits so hard I can hear it even through the blast noise. Hang on, Tom. Stay in the vehicle. We're coming to you. Repeat your coordinates. Can't. GPS is dead. Then only static. They're everywhere. A short hiss, and that's it. Radio goes quiet. Damn it. I slam my fist against the armor, and the hot metal burns my knuckles. Riggs groans. Somewhere nearby, mines detonate, throwing pillars of dust. A Humvee engine coughs to life somewhere behind us. Someone yells. They're coming from the west. RPG, RPG. An explosion to my left throws me to the ground. Sand pours into my mouth, my ears, everywhere. I push up, coughing. My head rings. Someone shouting my name sounds like Walsh. Sergeant, we need to pull back north to the ridge. No, I say. My son's there. Delta 1 is under fire. Got him at Mike. We can't go in blind, he's yelling, but I'm not listening anymore. In moments like this, rational thought dies. There's only one thing left: blood and family. I grab my M4, check the mag. Full. I glance at Riggs, he's out cold. I leave him water, lay a rifle by his side. Hang tight, kid, I tell him quietly, though he can't hear me. I'll be back. The sand squeaks under my boots as I move through the wreckage. The roar of blasts behind us fades into the wind. The convoy is strung out 10 vehicles, most of them hit. The radio chatter collapses into electronic coughing. I lean over the driver of a Humvee, face charred, eyes open, a machine gun still in his hand. I pull a spare mag off him without meeting his eyes. If I look, I'll break. Bravo 1 to all, I shout into the radio. Form up a second team. Anyone still standing on me? We're moving south. Only 3 answer. Walsh, Kemp, and the old tech, Garrett. Not enough. But there's no other choice. We move along a low wash, trying not to draw attention. The sand cooks through our boots. The air shimmers with heat. Somewhere far off, a helicopter hums, then fades away. Sergeant, Kemp says quietly, what if it's a trap? They cut us off from the base, jammed our nets. Maybe, but my boy's there, I say. And if it's a trap, I'll be the one to set it off first. Kemp says nothing. He's young. In his eyes, fear and respect are all mixed together. Walsh walks beside me, muttering, "You're out of your mind, Hayes." I know, I say, but I'm not leaving him. A few minutes later, we reach a sandy hollow. On the horizon, pillars of smoke. That's where the second convoy should have been. Short bursts of automatic fire echo from there. "Contact," Garrett shouts. "I've got movement." I drop to a knee and raise my binoculars. Through the haze and heat, I catch shadows several pickups with mounted guns. They're finishing off the survivors. My chest tightens. "That's Delta One," I whisper. "Tom." I switch to the open channel. "Delta One, if you can hear me, respond." Silence. Only static. Something inside me snaps. "We go," I say. "No more talking." We slide down into the hollow. Sand sloughs away, our feet slip. Garrett hauls the radio, Kemp covers. As we get closer, voices carry Arabic, quick and sharp, laced with laughter. I see 3 fighters by an overturned armored carrier. One's rummaging through the wreck, one's on security, the third is on the radio. I raise my hand. "On my mark." Quiet. I count. 1, 2. Garrett stumbles. Metal clanks. All 3 fighters whip around. "Fire!" I yell. Shots rip the quiet. Kemp drops the first, Walsh the second. The third manages to lob a grenade. I hit the deck. The blast rips up sheets of sand, punches my back. My ears scream, my mouth tastes like metal. "All clear," Walsh shouts. "You alive?" "Yeah," I grunt. "Find the wounded." I crawl to the carrier. Inside, chaos. Burned bodies, torn straps. And in the mess, a broken dog tag shard lying in the sand. It's engraved, T. Hayes. The world stops. I hear only the wind and my own breathing. "God, Tom." My hands shake. I squeeze the tag until it bites my palm. I feel the chill of the metal, even in this heat. Behind us, another explosion behind our backs. Walsh turns. "Sergeant, they're cutting us off." I lift my eyes. New silhouettes crest the dune. Dozens. Closing from both sides like a shadow. I understand. We've gone too far. This isn't a rescue. It's a script someone wrote ahead of time. The radio crackles to life. Hiss. Then a stranger's voice, cold and foreign. "Welcome, Sergeant Hayes. We have been waiting for you." I go still. Sand trickles off the dune like the hourglass in a glass timer. I look at the smashed column, at the black smoke rising into the sky. And for the first time all day, I accept the truth. This is not a drill, it's a trap. A few months earlier. In the morning, the base smells like grease, fresh cut grass, and coffee brewed before sunrise. I'm by the parade ground, watching a group of recruits scatter after another lap. Sweat runs down their faces, white t-shirts stuck to their bodies, eyes full of fatigue, though they don't yet know real fatigue comes from memory, not running. "Pick it up, recruits," I bark without thinking. In a fight, you won't get to ask the enemy to slow down. My vocal cords are used to this. I've been an instructor for 5 years, and it's the only thing keeping me in the ranks. When you stand in front of the young, you see your 20-year-old self in their faces, the same naivete, the same mirage of heroism and glory. They don't know the smell of things burning. They haven't seen a friend's body lying next to them in the sand. And God willing, they never will. I walk the lines, check their boots, their hands trembling from overwork. One goes down. "On your feet, Boyd," I bark. There's no 5-minute break in a fight. He stands, teeth clenched. Good. This isn't about fitness, it's about character. We're not training muscles here. We're training will. After the session, I head back to the barracks, where it smells like sweat, metal, and dust. I wash with cold water and look in the mirror. My reflection is scars, wrinkles, and eyes that have seen too much. My wife used to say I looked older than I am. No one says that now. She died 3 years ago. Cancer. I was in Afghanistan on yet another contract. I didn't make it home in time. I don't talk about it. Ever. But every time I see a "support our troops" flyer, I think, who supports us when we come back from war? An old 2-story house in the Virginia suburbs. Quiet. No laughter, no woman's voice singing in the kitchen anymore. Just the fridge humming and a distant clock tick. I set a pot on the stove, grab a cup, sit by the window. In the yard, the oak I planted with my son. He was 10 then, laughing as we watered the sapling. Evenings are like me empty. When Tom called that day, I wasn't surprised. His voice was short, held tight, like he was carrying something heavy inside. "Dad, I'm stopping by today. That okay?" "Of course," I said, always. He pulled up in the old pickup I gave him after high school. He climbed out like a grown man, but I still saw the kid who was afraid of the dark in his eyes. So much of me in him, and something not mine at all. I noticed the haircut short, military. He kept quiet coming in. So did I. Words between us always lived heavy, like a load neither of us wanted to carry. "You've changed," I say, pouring him coffee. "Guess so." He smiles. "I signed a contract, Dad." I stop. The pot hangs in the air. "What contract?" "The Army, infantry, training in a month." Silence drops between us like a blast with no sound. I set the pot down, take the chair across from him. "You sure?" I ask softly. "Yeah, I want to be like you." Those words cut deeper than any bullet. He looks straight at me and doesn't look away. In his eyes, the shine of stubborn youth, the same one I used to carry. "Tom, you don't know what this is. War isn't a movie, and it isn't glory." "I know," he says, cutting me off. "I saw your photos, heard your stories." "You didn't hear stories," I tell him. "You heard shadows. I never told you the truth." He drops his gaze. His fingers ball into a fist. "Maybe it's time I saw for myself," he says. I want to tell him he's a fool, that he has a life, that he could choose a different road. But I say nothing, because I see myself the same age I left, and I know no one could have stopped me then. We drink coffee in silence. Outside, the wind whispers. The air smells like pine, like fall, something I used to miss. "Mom would be proud," he says quietly. I grit my teeth. That word, mom, hurts. "Maybe," I say, "or maybe not. She was always afraid I wouldn't come back." He says nothing. I see a spark of fear in his eyes, and I watch him fight it, the same way I did once. I lay the table out of habit, like a ritual that's lost its meaning. Turkey, potatoes, gravy, a bottle of bourbon we only open once a year. Now there are two of us. He shows up in uniform, fresh, still clean, no stains or dust yet. I look at him and feel pride mixed with guilt. Pride because he's my son, solid, straight, a real man. Guilt because maybe I taught him to believe glory is worth a life. We sit. We don't talk. The silence is as heavy as a flak vest. I pour the bourbon. "To those who made it home," I say. He looks me in the eye and adds, "and to those still out there." We clink. The glass rings soft, like a bell. "Remember," he says after a long pause, "how we used to fish for trout up in the mountains. I was little, and you told me patience is a weapon too." I smile. "Yeah, and it's the hardest one." "You think I'll handle it?" he asks, not sure, like a boy waiting for a blessing. "No one handles it, Tom," I say. "We just learn to live after we don't." He gives a sad smile, stands, pours himself a little more. "You know, Dad, I don't want you to worry. I'm not you. I'm not going there to die. I'm going to learn how to live." His words hurt, but I nod, because I know each of us tells ourselves the same thing once. After dinner, he steps onto the porch, and I stand at the window, looking at his back. The moon hangs over the roofs, cold light on his close-cropped hair. Everything in me mixes pride, fear, love, loneliness. I want to go out and say something, anything, but I stay. All our words now are silence. A few weeks later, I get orders. In the morning, when I walk into HQ, Captain Strange tosses me an envelope. "Congratulations, Sergeant. You're up again. Syria. Training mission, they say. Last rotation before they retire you." I say nothing. Last rotation sounds like a joke. Any one of them can be the last. "When?" I ask. "In a month." I step outside. The air is cold, gray. Far off on the parade ground, the recruits are running again. Their voices sound like echoes of the past. I think of Tom. His unit is training in the same state. Maybe we'll even cross paths. Funny, the world's so big and war is always the same. I look at the sky. Snow starts to fall in fine dust, quiet, almost gentle. In that hush, I think I hear her voice again, my wife, from far away, warm. Mike, promise me you won't let him go there. I didn't promise. And now it's too late. In the evening, I sit at the same table. The plate across from me is empty, the glass untouched. I stare at it until my fingers clamp down on the wooden edge. One more year, I whisper to myself. One more damned year. On the wall in the corner hangs a photo of me, my wife, Tom. She's 30, I'm 40, he's 12. We're laughing, holding a picnic with hot dogs. None of us know it's going to end. I lift my glass and say quietly, to those we lost, and to those we're going to lose. On base, the air smells like sweat, grease, and dust baked onto every surface like a second skin. The sun doesn't shine here, it scorches. It burns everything living, and even the shadows look dried out. The concrete barriers are so hot it feels like the place smells of heated metal more than people. We live between explosions, you don't always know where they come from, but your body tilts its head, counts seconds, waits for the next one. Cobalt Base isn't a fortress. It's a temporary cutout in the desert. A handful of tents, armored Humvees, gun towers, and that same smell burn, sand, nerves. Everyone's tired here not from war, but from the waiting. Waiting is the hardest when you know the next run could be the last. I sit on an ammo crate by the armored truck and wipe down my rifle. It's a mechanical ritual. The mind rests when the hands work. The metal shines, smells like oil, and somehow that calms me. Across from me sits a new kid, skinny, from Georgia, last name Harper. He's 19, looks like he was playing baseball yesterday. He's holding a creased letter, reading it for the third time. A smile quivers on his lip, and in his eyes there's something between tenderness and pain. From your mom? I ask without looking up from my weapon. Yes, sir, he says softly. Says it snowed again back home. Says the chickens froze in the shed and Dad's cussing because now he's got to fix everything. He laughs to himself. Says she's waiting for Christmas, but without me it won't be real. I nod. Moms always say that. He folds the letter and tucks it away. His hands tremble, though he tries to hide it. I look at him and think, Tom's probably getting letters like that too. I haven't written him in a week. I'm not even sure he can get a note from me now. Tom and I got different routes, different zones. I knew he was not far somewhere in the same sector off to the southwest, but the Army kept us from official contact. Don't mix the personal with the operational. Except what do you do when your operational is your only son? The mess hall is stuffy, even with the doors open. In the corner, the generator old, growling like it's about to die. Metal spoons ping against aluminum trays. Someone's arguing about the line, someone's laughing, but the laughter here is always tight, as if people are afraid it might get too loud. I sit with Walsh, Garrett, and Harper. The food's standard rice, canned meat, water with a chlorine tang. They say we're rolling again tomorrow, Walsh says, chewing. Command wants us to check the northern corridor. Heard it's been quiet there for 2 weeks, Garrett adds. Quiet is the most dangerous word, I say. When it's quiet, it means something's cooking. Everyone goes silent. We know every quiet ends in a blast. Harper looks up. Sir, when were you last home? I take a second. 2 years ago. And that's not hard on you? Hard is not coming back. Everything else is just time. He nods like he understands, though he doesn't yet. Evening. The desert turns the color of rust. The sun sinks, and the warmth gives way to a dry cold. We sit by the vehicles. Some clean their weapons, some smoke, and I stare at the horizon. There's something hauntingly beautiful about these evenings. The calm before the storm, the smell of smoke that isn't there yet, and the sense that tomorrow everything could change. I hear Garrett talking to the radio tech. Intel says the road through Sector D might be mined. Source? Drone. The camera caught a glint in the sand, either a mine or scrap. I press my lips together. That either always costs lives. Walsh throws me a look. If it's a trap, they're waiting for us. And that's why we'll go, I say, because someone has to check. He sighs. You're too old to play hero, Hayes. I'm no hero, I tell him. Just a father who hasn't learned to let go. He shuts up. He knows what I mean. I don't sleep that night. The tent is quiet. Somewhere in the dark, metal clinks. Maybe the wind, maybe an animal, maybe just my nerves. I pull out a photo. It's all scuffed, edges worn, but the faces are still there. Me, Tom, and her, my wife, Sarah. Her smile is soft, eyes alive like water. She looks at me from the past, and I hear her voice. Take care of him, Mike, even if he's grown. Promise. I said, yes, then, without believing it. You can't protect a grown man. You can teach him to shoot, to survive, but you can't teach him not to die. I fold the photo and tuck it in the pocket over my heart. The radio hisses. Bravo 1, this is Alpha Center. Route confirmed for tomorrow. Step at 0700. Be ready. Copy, I reply. Last rotation, they said. I don't believe in last times anymore. Morning greets us with dry wind and diesel. Mechanics start the engines, gunners check belts. The air is tight, every move practiced into muscle memory. I walk the line, check gear, water, kit. Sergeant, Harper calls, you forgot your tag. I take it and hang it around my neck. The metal is cold. Thanks, soldier. Don't want them confusing me with a ghost. He smiles. It's short, like a spark. Before we roll, I rest my palm on the armored hull. Warm, alive, like it's breathing. All right, old beast, I whisper. One more ride. Right then, I get a short message. The old tablet blinks, weak signal, but the words show. Dad, all good. We're in Sector D. They say the route is clear. See you after rotation. Tom. I freeze. Sector D. The same place we're headed tomorrow. I stare at the screen, at those few lines, and my heart seems to stop. I want to answer, don't go, wait, I'm headed there, but the signal's gone, cut off. I sit on a crate by the tent and look up. The sky is gray, dead, with no promises, and I think, maybe Sarah's somewhere in this hot air, watching us both and whispering the same thing she always did. Take care of him, Mike, even if he's grown. I raise my head and breathe deep. Somewhere far off the artillery rumbles. Maybe he's out there. And I know, tomorrow we'll take that road, and one of us won't come back. The sand slides under the wheels like water. The air is blistering. The sky isn't blue, it's the color of burns. We move in a column of 11 vehicles, 3 armored carriers, 7 Humvees, and a munitions truck in the rear. The wind drives the grit so hard it feels like we're sailing an ocean of sand with no shore, no heading. In my headset, radio crackle and broken voices. Bravo 2, confirm route. Copy. We're on plan. Sectors are quiet. Quiet. The scariest word in the desert. The sun hits my helmet, and I feel the metal heat my scalp through the liner. Inside the vehicle, it smells like scorched diesel, sweat, and fear. We've been rolling for 4 hours. Garrett taps the steering wheel, rhythmic, like he's beating back his nerves. Can't see a damn thing, he mutters. Just sand and sky. Means we're still alive, I tell him. Start worrying when you see something. Harper sits in the back, clutching his rifle. Behind his goggles, his eyes dart. He whispers something, a prayer or a name. I don't ask. Everyone has a way to talk to God. 10 minutes later, the radio wakes up. Bravo 1, recon here. Confirm possible enemy activity in Sector D12. Stay sharp. I lean forward. D12? Say again. That's our sector. Affirm. Drone caught movement. Possible mines or ambush. My spine goes cold. The wind brings a tang of metal, sharp like rust. Garrett, slow it down. I keep my voice even though everything inside tightens. Hold 100 meters of spacing. Copy. Across the column, the short commands ripple caution, zone check, eyes up. Just like 100 runs before, but this time something's off. In the air, there's a sound, not noise, not a blast, more like a whisper. Instinct screams, wrong, and then the ground explodes. Sand. Fire. Screams. Silence. Screams again. The world disappears. I see only flashes orange, red, white. The vehicle lurches, metal tears, glass sprays my eyes. My ears go dead. My body slams the cabin wall. Then dark. When I come to, I'm on my side, face down in the sand. Blood and grit in my mouth. I suck air in ragged chunks. The world drifts, slow as if underwater. The hum in my skull won't let me focus. Around me, chaos. One armored carrier is burning, its turret blown clean off, the machine gun dumped beside it. People run, shout, fire toward the source of the muzzle flashes. I crawl to Garrett, he's sitting propped on a tire, his chest opened by shrapnel. He's breathing, barely. Hang in there, old man, I say. Hang in. Damn, they hit from the dunes, he whispers. I know. We'll answer. I grab the radio, but it's only static. Channels are dead. I spot Walsh a few yards away, flat on his back, eyes open, helmet knocked off. His hand still clutches a map. Blood darkens the sand. Co's down, someone screams. What now, Sergeant? I lift my head. Smoke, blasts, shouting, the stink of fuel. The rubber on a side panel catches fire with a thick crackle, like meat on coals. Hold the perimeter, I yell. Pour it into the slopes. Don't let them come off the dunes. My throat tears with the sound. Adrenaline chews up the pain. The shots run together into one long line. Sand mixes with blood. Someone nearby goes down, screams. Medic. A minute later, the blasts ease. The air quivers. The shooting gives way to the groan of engines still smoking. I look around of 11 vehicles. 5 are standing. The rest are charred skeletons in flames. I jam the radio to my mouth. Cobalt Base, this is Bravo 1. We're taking fire in Sector D12. Many wounded, command is down. We need reinforcements. Silence. Then a quick click. Bravo 1, link is unstable. Say your coordinates again. D12, repeat, D12, we. The signal drops. And then I hear another voice weak, barely there, shredded by static. Delta 1, it's Tom. We're under fire too. South of the ridge, can't hold. I freeze. The world narrows to a single point, his voice. Tom, do you hear me? Answer. They came from both sides. Heavy losses. The sound tears. Dad. Static. Silence. Tom. I fling the radio down. It clatters, comes apart. Sergeant, Harper runs up, caked in dust, face black with soot. What's the move? We're moving south, I say. But the order is hold and wait for support. The order is dead, Harper, I growl. I said south. He looks at me, lips trembling. Your son's there? Yes. He stands quiet a beat, then nods once. Then I'm with you, Sergeant. We push through smoke and wreckage. Fire breathes behind us, but I don't look back. Bodies, twisted metal, burned tags, gear everywhere. Every piece is a human story cut off by one shot. I walk like I'm in a dream. The sand is soft, draggy, like it wants to pull me under. We crest a dune, and I see black smoke on the horizon, another convoy burning. South, where Tom was supposed to be. A kind of fury takes me, but deeper, it's not just anger. It's something older, an instinct that beats everything else. A father can't leave a son. A soldier can't break orders. But I am both. I go down the slope. My chest is tight, breath hitching, but I don't stop. Garrett stays to cover. Harper and 2 others follow me. Sand flies underfoot, The wind whistles in my ears, smelling like smoke and blood. Every step feels like the last. I'm not thinking about rank or regulations or discipline anymore. That's all dead, like the men we left behind. There's only one goal: reach the place where I heard his voice. And when I hit the first wrecks from the other columns, scorched armor, torn tents, scattered packs, I know the line between soldier and father is gone. I drop to a knee and pick up a shard of a dog tag, burned but readable. It's engraved, T. Hayes. The wind lifts the sand and it stings my eyes. I squeeze the metal until it cuts my skin. "I'll find you, Tom," I whisper, "even if I have to walk through hell itself." Behind me, Harper shouts, "Sergeant, movement on the flank." I rise, tighten my grip. Figures on the horizon, dozens, sliding down the dunes, black shapes against the sky. Night in the desert isn't like any other night on Earth. It isn't cool, it's cold like a knife's edge, and the silence is so thick it feels like someone sucked the air out of the ground itself. I walk alone. Only the wind and broken sand under my feet witness my steps. Wreckage everywhere, ruined vehicles, scraps of metal spinning in the breeze. Every sound reminds me I'm still alive. After a battle, the space feels empty, but it's full of ghosts. I feel them around me, everyone who shouted, fired, fell, begged. They whisper from the sand. I go slow, rifle on my shoulder, but the weapon feels like dead weight now. The enemy isn't flesh and blood anymore. The enemy is the void. Fire still smolders behind me. An armored carrier from my convoy burns quietly, no roar, like a funeral candle. I go closer and smell the mixed char, fuel, scorched rubber. I carried that smell home from Iraq. Now it's back. Among the wreckage lies a body. A young Syrian, maybe 20. His hand reaches toward the sky, fingers trying to catch the moon. Eyes open, a question frozen there. I look at him and can't shoot, though maybe I should. He's the enemy. But now he's just a kid who expected to see dawn. I move on. Near another wreck, two enemy fighters, alive. One's bandaging the other's leg. They see me. Freeze. In the dark, eyes flash, then a rifle, but the hand doesn't lift. We stare for seconds that feel like forever. I nod slow. They nod back. I pass. I don't shoot. Not out of mercy. I simply can't anymore. Because now I see we're all the same. We're all looking for someone in this sand. At night, the desert smells different. Cold, blood, smoke, metal. My flashlight cuts a cone through the dark. I follow what should have been Delta One's line. Every step is heavy as the last breath. My legs sink in, muscles humming with exhaustion. Ahead, a scorched little marker, flag unit signage. Next to it, a shredded Humvee. Hood split, roof burned through, inside only shadows. I crouch and peer in, empty. Only a bullet lodged in a seat, and a helmet on the floor. Not his. A different tag, a different name. I bow my head and shut my eyes. God, if you're there, let him be alive. I've given everything. Don't take him. The wind brings a sound. Distant, hoarse. Could be a wounded man, could be just wind in the wreckage. I go toward it because it's the only thing keeping me upright. When he was little, Tom was scared of thunderstorms. 5 years old. I remember him running into my room when thunder pounded the roof and asking, "Dad, you're coming back, right?" I laughed then. "Back from where? I'm right here." "When you go to war," he'd say, "you'll come back." And I answered like all fathers do, "Of course I will." A lie told out of love, the worst kind. I keep going. Every yard is an hour. Every shadow looks like a body, every scrap a sign of life. On the horizon, a flicker of flame, the battle's leftovers. The air is heavy and bitter. By a ruined truck, I find scattered ammo crates, ripped med kits, fragments of helmets. One of them a familiar color, dark green, with scratches on the left side. I step closer. My heart beats faster. On the helmet is a white tape strip with black marker. T. Hayes. It hits me like a blow. I drop to my knees. I touch the metal cold, rough like stone. My fingers shake. Something tears inside me, but there's no sound. Tom, I whisper. God, Tom. Tracks nearby. Different prints, scuff marks. Like someone was carried. Not a corpse. Alive. Hope is that fragile, I'm afraid to breathe and break it. I look at the helmet, then at the dark. Somewhere out there silence, endless. But somewhere out there is him. I grip the helmet and press it to my chest. I'll find you, son, I tell the night. Even if I have to walk on bodies and sand, I will find you. The moon slips from behind a cloud and lights the field. In that light, everything shows. Twisted wheels, charred bodies, and those still breathing. I hear a groan nearby, a young enemy, weak voice. I go. His belly is shot, his hands shaking. He looks at me, terrified. I pull my canteen and lift it to his lips. He drinks, coughs on the water. Why, he whispers, why help me? Because you're a human being, I say. He closes his eyes. I know he won't see sunrise, but he doesn't hurt anymore. I step away, each step heavier than the last. Far off, between the dunes, I see movement, a figure walking slowly through the sand. I raise my weapon, but don't fire. The wind carries short phrases in Arabic. Two fighters carrying a third, wounded. His arm hangs limp. They hold him under the shoulders. One stops and looks at me. Our eyes meet. We aren't enemies. We're just people who want to make it to morning. He nods to me. I nod back. We walk different ways. About an hour later, I climb a small rise. From here, I can see the southern flats. It looks like a field after a storm. Sand, black blast marks, machine bones scattered like an old animal's skeleton. Above it, all the moon hangs, calm, indifferent. I kneel. I pull the photo from my pocket, the same one I always carry. Me, Sarah, Tom. In the picture, 3 living people. Around me, a sea of dead. I wonder if she can see me now, Sarah, and if she can, does she forgive me? She asked. Take care of him, even if he's grown. I promised, and here I am, in the middle of hell, his helmet in my hands. I was too late, I say quietly, but I won't stop. The wind lifts the sand, and the dunes seem to whisper his name. Tom. I breathe in this sand, this smoke, this silence, and I understand now I'm not only searching for my son, I'm searching for myself. The man who stayed back home with the woman who sang in the kitchen, the man who once believed war had an end. I stand, grip the helmet, look east. In a few hours, the sun will rise and dry the blood on the sand. I'll take another step, then another, and another. Because as long as I'm moving, he's alive. Silence. It's not the same as before. Not the silence that scares you before a fight, not the one that pounds in your ears after a blast. This one's different, thick, alive. It fills every space between my heartbeats. I walk. The sand crunches underfoot, heavy, like the earth is pushing back. My shoulder is split open. The blood dried long ago. My shirt sticks to my skin. Every step hits my ribs and my skull, but I don't stop. Stopping is death, and I've seen enough of that. The world feels muted. Even the wind, even the smoke, everything moves without sound. It's like someone killed the audio track and left only the picture. I hear just my breathing short, choppy, like an sauce, and my heart. The rhythm that keeps me on this side. 1, 2. 1, 2. Step inhale. Step exhale. In my head, voices that should have faded long ago. Take care of him, Mike. Dad, you'll come back, right? They echo not as words, but as feeling. If I could stop time, I'd stay in the moment when everything was simple. The house, morning coffee, her voice, Tom playing in the yard. But now there's only the desert, and me in it. The sand darkens softer, like ash. I follow prints I don't know whose. Maybe enemy, maybe civilians, maybe ghosts. Instinct whispers go. I listen. In the east, the sky pales. A thin gray line cuts the dark. Dawn. But it's cold, without hope. Even the light looks tired here. I spot the wreck of a shack, maybe an old supply point. Walls half down, roof caved in. I go closer. On the ground, empty water bottles, bandages, scraps of cloth, and tracks, a lot of them small ones. Children's. My chest tightens. I squint, the rubble shifts. A shadow, then another. I drop down, cover the rifle. Not enemies. Small shapes. Kids. One is lying down. Others sit around him. And among them a man. At first I think he's local, but when he turns, I see the face I know better than my own. Tom. He's pale, thin, caked in dust, but alive. His eyes the same. Deep, dark, like his mother's. In his hands a bandage. He's wrapping a boy's leg, the child whimpering softly but not crying. My body forgets to breathe. Everything inside flares, but I can't exhale. I just stand there. He looks up. Our eyes meet. The world disappears. No war, no burn, no scream, no sand, only him. His lips move. No sound, but I understand. Dad. I take a step, then another. He rises to meet me. His hands shaking, scraped, dust and blood reach out, and then touch. Our palms meet. No words. No need. I feel him breathe. Feel him alive. Feel his heart thumping the same rhythm as mine. Two hearts, two beats together. He whispers something I can't hear. I hear only the breath. It's enough. I rest my hand on the back of his head and pull him in. His forehead presses into my chest. His shoulders tremble not from fear, but because he can finally let go. We stand among the ruins, in the middle of this desert, like two shadows that finally found each other. Around us children, quiet, scared. One of them watches us, gripping a toy, just a bit of wood whittled into a little airplane. Maybe Tom gave it to him to help him through. I look at my son, he's exhausted, spent, but his eyes are clear. There's no fear there, no shame, only silence. And inside that silence, everything that needs saying. He points east, maybe there are more people there, still alive. I nod. We walk together, step by step. The children follow, steadying each other. No one speaks. No voices, no commands. Only the sound of sand under our feet and our breathing. When the sun rises, we top a low ridge. First light touches the dunes, painting them red. The silence gets deeper. In this light, it looks less like a battlefield and more like the world's beginning. Tom looks ahead, then at me. In his gaze is so much pain, guilt, gratitude, and something I forgot a long time ago, peace. I set my hand on his shoulder. He smiles, not with words, not with his mouth, just with his eyes. And I understand, we didn't survive to come back. We survived to remember. No one will say we won. No one will hear this story. There's no need for sound. Sometimes the real scream is silence, and the real ending is when you simply stand and breathe with the one you were afraid to lose. We stand, a father and a son, in the middle of endless shadows in the sand. No sound, no words, but alive. A month passed. Winter in America smells different, no smoke, no dust, no sweat, but something clean, almost sterile. Snow covers the ground like it's trying to hide everything people did before it fell. The wind whistles through bare trees, and every gust feels like a whisper, soft, almost human. At the Veterans Memorial in Washington, silence. Great slabs of stone stand in ranks, cold and dark, reflecting the faces of those who come. Tom stands in front of one, hands deep in his pockets, gaze fixed. On his chest a uniform, fresh and clean, no dust, but with eyes that have already seen war. In his right hand a medal, heavy metal gleaming under the winter sun, the one awarded posthumously to Sergeant Michael Hayes. His father, his teacher, his shadow. Around him a few people, veterans, families. Some are crying, some are quiet. Tom stands apart. He doesn't cry. His face is calm, nearly stone. Only his fingers grip the metal until the knuckles go white. Next to him, a small envelope. The handwriting is neat, familiar, almost careful. To Tom, if I don't come back. He tears the edge slow, like he's afraid the words inside will crumble like sand. He unfolds the paper. The page is slightly yellowed, but the ink is clear. Son, if you're reading this, I did what I had to do. I was a soldier. I saw death, loss, and the world falling apart before my eyes. But when you were born, I understood for the first time what it means to fight not for orders, but for life. I was always afraid I'd pass down not courage, but a shadow, that you'd go where I left part of myself, and still you went. If you ever ask yourself why I didn't know this, not for the flag, not for rank, not even for duty. I did it so you would have a choice, so you could be better. I was a soldier, but before anything else, I was your father. And if this world still has meaning, it's in what we leave behind. Protect a world where there is room for silence. Your father, Michael. Tom stands a long time, unmoving. The letter trembles in his hands. He reads every line like it's the first time. There's a knot in his throat, but he won't let it loose. His eyes shine, but his tears don't fall. The wind picks up. The paper rustles softly. Tom folds it, slips it into his pocket, sets the metal by the stone. Then he touches the stone briefly, with everything words can't carry. You came back, he whispers, just in a different way. An old woman passes, stops for a moment, nods to him. Tom nods back, and the place returns to quiet. Hours later, on the other side of the country, the wind combs an empty training range. Where Michael used to teach, there's only sand and snow mixed into one colorless waste. The clock on the guard tower stopped long ago. No one hears footsteps anymore. But when the wind moves through the empty barracks, it brings a faint sound, dry, rhythmic, familiar. 1, 2, 1, 2. Like someone marching. Maybe it's only the wind playing games. Or maybe it's him. Sergeant Michael Hayes on his last ruck, across endless sand and silence, where there's no war anymore, no pain, no orders. Only footsteps, and the wind carrying them on out to where every soldier can finally take off the armor and be just a father.